Have you ever stopped, not just to think about money, but to question something deeper? Why is it that families, even when they earn, even when they save, even when they give, still never seem to build lasting wealth? Pause for a moment, because this is not a simple question. This is the kind of question most people avoid. Because if you answer it honestly, it will force you to confront patterns you have been living inside, without even realizing it. Look carefully at your family. Not with emotion, but with observation, generation after generation. The same cycles repeat. Money comes in, but it doesn't stay. Progress begins, but it doesn't sustain. Effort increases, but results plateau. And over time, what could have been growth becomes a pattern so normal that no one questions it anymore. Let me ask you something honestly. When money enters your life, do you already know where it will go? Not because you planned it, but because there is an expectation attached to it. An obligation, a responsibility, a pressure that feels automatic. Where did that come from? Who defined that for you? Did you ever sit down and consciously decide, this is how I want to use my money? Or did you simply step into a system that was already in motion before you became aware of it? Because this is where the truth begins. The truth is not in your paycheck. It is not in your salary. It is not in your job. The truth is in something far more subtle and far more powerful. The agreements you inherited. Not written agreements, not formal contracts, but silent understandings. Unspoken rules, a social contract that no one announced, but everyone follows. This is what we call the hidden agreement. And once you see it, you begin to understand everything differently. The hidden agreement says things like, when money comes in, it must solve immediate problems. You cannot have money while others around you are struggling. You must always be available when needed. You must not appear too far ahead. Your success must remain connected to the group. No one sits you down to teach this, but you observe it, you feel it, you internalize it, and eventually, you live by it. Let me take you deeper, because this is where it becomes personal. Think about the first time you tried to do something financially different. Maybe you tried to save seriously. Maybe you decided to invest in yourself. Maybe you saw an opportunity and wanted to take a risk. What happened? Did support come first, or did resistance arrive immediately? Did you hear encouragement or warnings? Be careful. Don't lose your money. What if it doesn't work? And sometimes, it wasn't even words. It was a feeling, a subtle tension, a quiet discomfort, as if stepping forward was also stepping away. Away from what is familiar, away from what is accepted, and that feeling is what keeps most people in place. Not because they are weak, but because they are loyal. Loyal to people, loyal to expectations, loyal to a system they never consciously chose. And this is where the cost begins. Because every time you obey that agreement, you are not just making a decision, you are reinforcing a pattern. A pattern that determines how much you keep, how much you grow, and how far you are allowed to go. Now let's make this real. Imagine this. Every month, you earn money. And every month, a portion of that money is directed by obligation. Not strategy, not intention, but expectation. 50,000 here, 100,000 there. Support, assistance, responsibility. It feels right. It feels necessary. But over time, it becomes a structure. And here is what most people never calculate. If you redirect 100,000 every month for 5 years, that is 6 million. If that 6 million had been invested, it could have multiplied. It could have created leverage. It could have changed your trajectory. But instead, it maintained the system. This is not about blaming anyone. This is about understanding the cost of unconscious agreement. So now the question becomes, are your financial decisions truly yours, or are you simply continuing a pattern that was handed to you? Because most people believe, as long as I am earning, I am progressing. But the first millionaire understands something deeper. If your money is controlled by inherited agreements, your income does not belong to your future. It belongs to your past, and that is why progress feels slow. That is why growth feels limited. That is why effort does not translate into transformation. Because the system remains unchanged. And until the system changes, nothing else will. This is exactly what episode 2 will reveal, not on the surface, but at the root. In episode 2, you will see clearly how obligation and loyalty create financial stagnation. How silent rules cost more than you think, not just in money, but in opportunity. And how to begin identifying, calculating, and separating yourself from inherited behavior. Because once you see the agreement, you cannot pretend it doesn't exist. And once you calculate its cost, you cannot ignore its impact. But there is something important you must do first. Start from episode 0. Because episode 0 is not just an introduction. It is the foundation. It gives you the full roadmap of this journey. It explains why identity comes before income. Why your thinking determines your financial direction. And why this entire series exists in the first place. If you skip it, you will hear the message, but you will not fully understand it. And if you are serious about becoming the first, then you must approach this with structure, not randomness. And beyond the videos, there is something deeper. Because awareness alone is not enough. Seeing the agreement is powerful, but breaking it requires a system. That system is in the book, The First Millionaire in Your Family. This is not just a book you read casually, it is a blueprint, a guide, a structured framework that shows you how to identify inherited agreements, how to separate emotion from strategy, how to rebuild your financial behavior intentionally, and how to create wealth that does not disappear, but compounds across generations. The videos will open your eyes, but the book will guide your actions. So don't just watch, engage, reflect, apply, because this is not content. This is a transition from unconscious living to intentional building. And now, let me leave you with something real. If you continue following the same agreements, where will you be in 10 years? Will your life look different? Or will it be a repetition of everything you have already seen? And the most important question, are you building wealth? Or are you maintaining a system that was never designed for you to grow? Be honest in the comments. What is one financial obligation you now realize you never truly questioned? Have you ever delayed your own growth because of responsibility or pressure? And if you are honest, are you in control of your money, or is an invisible agreement controlling you? This channel is not about motivation. It is about transformation. Every video you watch here is one step closer to becoming the first millionaire in your family. Not through luck, not through hype, but through discipline, structure, and long-term thinking. We are building thinkers. We are building investors. We are building legacy creators. And if you stay here long enough, apply what you learn, and study the blueprint inside the first millionaire in your family, you won't just change your income, you'll change your bloodline. So if this video shifted your thinking even a little, subscribe, because this is not just content. This is preparation. And 10 years from now, you'll either look back and say, I started when it was small, or I wish I did. Choose wisely. I'll see you in the next lesson.